Yo, what's going on? I just wanted to jump on video real quick so that you could see the face behind the voice. I just created this tutorial because I finally perfected this process that I have been trying to perfect over the last couple of days with using EasySubli and the Workforce 7720. We know, or if you don't know, the EasySubli, the ink just never really seems to dry on the paper, so I had to find a way around it. And here's a video that will help you if you're facing this problem as well. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, crafters, entrepreneurs, go-getters? Listen, I just wanted to create this video because I have been working on figuring this out over the last couple of days. Maybe others have had this similar. I have run into this similar issue. I print with a Workforce 7720, so I've been trying to figure out how to efficiently do sublimation on cotton shirts, and there are a bunch of options out there. For the feel of the vinyl, I like the EasySubli thus far. I would not be opposed to buying a shirt that has the feel of EasySubli. The issue with EasySubli and my Workforce is that for some reason it seems like the ink never dries on the Workforce on the EasySubli vinyl from the Workforce printer. So I had to figure out a way around it. So basically, I did this. What you're looking at is a copyrighted design that we had done for a military brats group that I'm a part of. Let me just hide these guides. So basically, this is the design. If you're familiar with Photoshop, you know this layout. Basically, I have two designs here. I have my size and care label here, and everything that I need to create the shirt. So basically, one tip that I do is I add a saturation level on top of everything else just to give it an extra pop. So here's the layout. So basically what I do is I'll save that as a JPEG to the folder. I've already done that. So let's just get into the meat and bones. Let's quit Photoshop. And you'll notice that everything is orientated correctly here in the image that I saved for the next part of this tutorial. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Silhouette. I use Silhouette. Other people may use Cricut. If you use Cricut, then you just have to adjust what I'm doing to suit your needs and your software and Cricut Cutter. So basically what I'm going to do, first thing that I'm going to do once I open Cricut is I'm going to make sure that my cutting mat is the correct size and my media is the correct size. What I see a lot of times is I see people who print from Silhouette and then part of the print is off the page, or part of the print is not where it's supposed to be, and a lot of times that's because people haven't set their cut mat and their media size correctly. So I already know that my design is 11 by 17. That's what I want to print it out on. So once I make sure that my cutting mat is right, my media size is correct, I'm going to go up here to my registration marks. I'm going to turn those on. Those are going to help me with the cut process. I like to have as much room on my paper as possible. So in many cases, I move my insets to maximum values on all sides. And then next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, and here's another mistake I see people make. They don't set their print, they don't do their print page setup correctly. So what I'm going to do up here, I'm on a Mac if you didn't know. I'm going to go to print page setup. I'm going to select my 7720, and I need to adjust my paper size. I know I'm using 11 by 17, so 11 by 17 it is. From there, I just hit OK. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to just drag my art into my space. Of course, for me, I like to leave it full size so that when I come in here and it's too large, I can resize it to the size that I actually need. So in Silhouette, what you have to do so that you keep your proportions the same is you have to lock the aspect ratio So I know the height of my paper is 17, so I'm going to put 17 in there. Now my artwork kind of fits on my page. And I say kind of because we see where my registration marks are, and this red border, anything outside the red border will not be cut. So just for the sake of argument and for speed, I'm going to change this to 16. So keep in mind that although my design changed, my workspace hasn't stayed the same. I mean, my workspace has stayed the same. So listen to this really quick. You see this white, you see most of this is gray, and this is white. This white indicates my paper that I'm going to print on. This red border is the safety boundaries of my paper. So I want to make sure that my design borders, not the paper, but the borders of my design, I want to make sure that they all fit within that red safety line. Let's call it the bleed area. So we do that. Once I do that, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to trace my entire design. So this is going to be a little crazy because I should have not kept my care label in there and size label, because I'm going to have to remove it. So basically what I do is trace outer edge, right? So when I trace the outer edge, that traces all of my design. You can see here the panda head. This panda's name is Stripes. Panda head, you can see Stripes head, you can see his full body, you can see our copyright symbol here, and you can also see the size and care label. For this design, I know that I do not need my care label, and later on what I will do is I will just print this out, lay it on top of an evenly cut white piece of vinyl, and put it in the shirt. That way, if the shirt is colored, if it's cotton, if it's polyester, I could just press it directly onto the shirt. So basically what I'm going to do here is all my pieces are connected here. They're all connected. So I need to release the compound path. That's going to allow me to work with these pieces individually. So I just want to get rid of this size and care label. So I'm going to select it, or select pieces of it, and just delete them. All right, so they're all gone. Now what I want to do is I want to regroup this so that these all stay the same. Now this is very important. What you want to do here, because this is exactly the same size, I do not mind a small white border around my design. I think it looks cleaner than anything else. And I also see one piece here. Sorry for the interruption. I think it looks cleaner than trying to match up. I think it's cleaner than trying to match up the piece right on top of the I think it's easier than trying to match up the piece right on top of each other if they're exactly the same size, and you'll see why in just a minute. Let me delete that. All right, here we go. So we're back at it. I'm glad that you guys can see that, because you'll run into stuff like that while you're doing this, and you may get lost if you're not very familiar. So like I said, this red line here is now my cut line, and it's the exact same size as my design, which is okay. I just still don't trust my software to cut exactly, where it says it's going to cut. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my entire design, and I'm going to come over here to offset. I'm going to turn my offset on, and what that does is it moves the cut line out a little bit, and I can already see that I've made a mistake somewhere with grouping all of my pieces, because if I were to move this, and you can't see it, but I know it from experience, that this copyright symbol is not attached to the entire cut line like this one is. So here is the copyright symbol for this, right? So I've made a mistake. So let's go back. And it's good that this wasn't perfect, because if it were and you ran into these type of issues, then you may be stumped. So let's see here. I'm just going back. I'm just Control Zing the last of what I've done last, just so that I can see where I made the mistake. All right, so I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna make sure I select everything to regroup. All right, there we go. Now I'm gonna come over to the star, which is offset, or you can right click and offset. Both the same. Two ways to do everything in most software programs. Now I know it's correct. I know that from experience. Then I would like to, from there, what I'm going to do is, my offset is too big here. Oh no, yeah it is. There we go. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, if I select this inner cut line, I want to make sure I select that and delete it. And I usually move it so that I know that I'm only selecting it. So I've selected it. You see now my copyright cut line is where it should be, right? So we're all good here. Now what I want to do is I want to bring my design back in and center it within my cut lines, right? Here we go. So we're centered within the cut lines. Cut lines are very close to my bleed area, which is good. They're inside it, still good. It allows me to use as much of my paper as possible, right? So now what I'm going to do is you have to remember, and this is where I kept getting stuck and I kept making the same mistake over and over again. My design is correct here, but what I need to do is I need to group all of these, right? Then I need to flip horizontally. This is very important that you flip it horizontally inside the software here, because if you flip it horizontally in your printer, your registration marks are going to be on the wrong side of the page. If you don't remember anything else I tell you from this tutorial, you should remember that you should flip your design horizontally in the software, not in your printer. And we'll cover that again when we send it to print. So now everything is set up the way I need it to be set up, which is great. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to File, Print. I'm using Silhouette Studio 4.4, so my print preview may be different than yours. So here's my design. Looks like I want it to look. I'm going to select Print. I get my print dialog box that pops up. I'm going to select my Workforce 7720. So I have presets, and I already have a preset for this, but let's go through the preset that I had prior to this. This is what I would do if I was printing on polyester. Epson Vivid 11x17, and I'll tell you why it's called that. And we'll go through my settings. So my color matching, Epson controls the colors. These, now yours may be different. These are just what produces the best results for me. Paper handling, make sure that the destination paper size is the super tabloid or the tabloid 11x17. I never check cover page. Print settings, very important. Cassette 1, premium presentation matte, best quality. Here, if I were going to print with this preset, I would uncheck mirror image. I would uncheck that because I've already mirrored my image in the software so that my registration marks would print on the correct side of the paper. If I mirror here, my registration marks would also be mirrored and it would throw off your cut. So uncheck this. Then I come in to my color options. For me, other people have different settings that they use. For me, Epson Vivid prints the most vibrant colors for me. So once all my settings are correct here, I would hit print. Since I've already printed this, I'm not going to do it again, and we don't need to watch another 10-minute Epson print video. So I'm going to cancel this, but I'm also going to show you my the settings that I have for work that comes out of my Silhouette that I will do in this 2-stage print. So you'll see I have a preset Silhouette 2-stage Epson Vivid 11x17. I haven't printed on 8.5x11, so I don't have a preset for that. You'll see my color matching is Epson Control, Epson Color Control. My paper handling is 11x17. My print settings, cassette 1, premium presentation, best quality, not mirrored. Remember, not mirrored. And my color options are Epson Vivid, and I would send that to print. Now, once that's printed, you're going to want to then cut your vinyl. So this is where I also had a lot of issue. I was doing stuff wrong for a long time and I was getting frustrated because I just wasn't paying attention. Once you have your image printed out, we're good with that. You can delete that. Oop, nope, you don't want to delete that. Sorry. What you want to do is you want to ungroup it, right? We want to ungroup, because what we want to do is we want to delete the art. We can get rid of our registration marks. We don't need those because basically now we're just working with vinyl. So we're going to place our design on the vinyl so that we know that it will cut and that it will fit. And from here, we go to send, right? Heat transfer smooth. I always bump up my force a little bit just so that I don't have any areas of the vinyl that's not that hasn't been cut cleanly. So once I go to once I set my force, I usually leave my speed at where it is. I'm gonna hit send. Very important here. When you hit send here, you want to send your vinyl mirrored, or let me just rephrase that. You want to send your EasySubli mirrored, because EasySubli, the side that you print on, is actually the side that is stuck to the clear plastic carrier. Remember that. Always remember that rough side is the side that you're going to put on I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. The side that is on the plastic carrier, the film, the see-through film, the side that's sticking to that is the side that will stick to your shirt. So if I didn't mirror this, it would print out exactly like this, which would be wrong, because this is the side that's facing me. This is the side that I'm printing on. If it doesn't make sense, you'll see once you try this. The rough side is the side that you're actually going to be printing on, or laying your print on, or laying your sublimation paper on. So this is the part that was throwing me off for the longest time. I promise you, if I was not clear, rewind this and listen to it again. When you send your EasySubli to your cutter, you have to send it mirrored. When you send your artwork to your printer, you want to mirror it in your Silhouette Studio and not in your printer. Those two things were throwing me off for like 3 or 4 days. I had to sit down and I just documented all of my work today, and I decided to make this video. So I've already done this, so I'm not going to send it. I've already cut this. I have the pieces already. I just want to make sure that you guys understand. All right, we'll send that mirrored, and it'll print. It'll cut, and then we'll go to the next steps. And so basically we're going to, here's the shirt that I'm going to try to show these examples on. Just a regular 100% cotton shirt, nothing special. There are some, you should use whatever material you want. Make sure that there's a couple different things that have to happen here, because it's literally a 2-stage process. So what I like to show you is the vinyl. So this is the vinyl that we cut, and we know that the vinyl is cut correctly because the dot is on the right hand side. If it were cut incorrectly, the dot will be on the left hand side. So we know that we did a good job with this part of the cutting. The dot is on the left, excuse me, so we know we're right, because once we tack it down, the dot will be on the right hand side. And here's the full body one. The dot is on the right hand side, which is correct as well. So now we have our actual artwork, and this is the sublimation print that we cut using the guides from the trace outline that we did. So once we tack the shirt down and lay the art on top of it, we know that it will fit perfectly within our borders, because we use the same trace lines to cut both the vinyl and the artwork. So what we're going to do here is kind kind of check the placement of the vinyl, and I'm going to make sure that all the lint or whatever that might be on this side of the vinyl is clear. So if you don't make sure that it's clear, all of that lint will actually get baked into the vinyl and you'll see it right in your design. So make sure that it's clear. Now I'm going to peel the EasySubli from the translucent backing. EasySubli is fairly thin, and it will rip if you are not careful with it. It's not as thin as some other substrates, but it's thin enough that you need to be careful with it. So the shiny side is the side that we're going to lay on the material or the shirt or the garment itself. Shiny side down. I was confused for a long time thinking that the rough side went down, but you'll notice that once you tack press it, that rough side actually becomes less rough. It's not smooth as the shiny side, but it's less rough. So make sure it's in the correct position. Clear the lint off of it. Put the carrier to the side, and that's it. Now you're ready to take it over to the press, and we know it's right because of this dot here, so we're all good to go. So here's where things get tricky. When I did this video, there were actually a ton of mess ups initially. So when I finally got everything down, I wanted to document it and record it as quick as possible. So I've tacked down the EasySubli to the shirt. As you can see the heat marks. Those will go away. If they don't go away, I'll steam those. It's tacked down on the shirt. Now we're going to take our artwork, flip it over, and try to line up the edges with the edges of the vinyl. In theory, this is supposed to work. Now, I'm adding this narration later, so you're going to see me fumbling around with trying to get it lined up. And here's what happened. I had been creating I had been making multiple mistakes. And so when I finally got it right, I was super excited. I wanted to record to get it down. So what you're seeing here is that my piece of artwork that I printed is actually larger than the EasySubli that I cut, and I know why. When I was making the video, you could see me moving the outline around and to different places. What happened was I accidentally resized the bigger head only outline and made it smaller. So what you see me doing here is trying to line it up, and although I came close, it wasn't close enough, as you'll see in the results. So rather than waste any more time, I'll fast forward it to me pulling the paper off. So in my mind, I think I have it lined up correctly, but I don't. The print, the A-sub paper print is a lot bigger than my vinyl. And at first I thought it was because the vinyl had shrank, under the heat, but that's not the case. Because I have done this before correctly by accident. So I know that the vinyl didn't shrink as much as I noticed the vinyl didn't shrink the amount that the print is larger than the vinyl. So I'm just trying to salvage this shirt by taping it down or positioning it and taping it down and just hoping for the best. So shirt's off the press. What do you think? You think I was able to do it? We'll see. So I'm going to lift the tape here. And initially, because I moved it from the side that was jacked up first, I knew that the placement wasn't correct. So you'll see the right side of the design, or the right side on the screen of the design, has a small white border. The left side doesn't. And that was just because I couldn't see, under the paper where the edge of the vinyl was. So this one didn't come out like I thought it should have. So we have the gray shirt. So we're going to same process. We're going to use a different technique to see what happens with the this gray shirt. So I'm going to take the vinyl and the artwork, the print, and going to apply it a different way. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to actually peel the EasySubli off of the carrier first. Again, do this with care, don't just rip it off. It's a little thinner than regular vinyl, but not as thin as some other stuff that's out there. So basically remember that the shiny side goes on the shirt, and the rough side is the side where you adhere the ink to. So basically what I'm doing here is I just want to make sure that the vinyl and the art are the same size, and they are. So I kind of was anxious here. I did not get all the moisture out of the shirt. Basically what I did was lay the vinyl down, make sure that the paper was the same size as the vinyl, which it is, and that's what we want, so that we have that border around the edge that looks clean. And so in my haste to see if everything that I did was once again incorrect, I just taped it down and went to press. So I'm just lining up the edges, making sure that they're in the correct places all the way around the design, because as you saw in the previous example, if it's off just a little bit, it throws off the entire image. And some people will still try to get a shirt off like that, maybe at a discount, but for me, I'm more of a perfectionist, so I had to I just want to make sure that everything lines up and looks perfect. So I'm going to tape this down, take it to the press. For my workflow is 60 seconds, 396 degrees. Coming off the press, didn't even take off the butcher paper. So remove the butcher paper. I'm already happy with the results before I even start to take the A-sub off. So I'm going to lift the edges just to see. And as I lift the edges, I'm happy. I can see that my border, my white border, is even so far. So keep going. Still excited, still happy that with my results. Pull the paper off. Now, this, don't worry, the paper will come off cleanly. Just take your time. But as you can see, this is the desired result, where your vinyl and your art are even all the way around. It doesn't take a lot. You might mess up 1 or 2 times, but that's nothing. You know what I mean? Get the heat, get your steamer out, get those press marks out, and you're ready to go. I like the feel of EasySubli. It's not as heavy as, say, a glitter vinyl, and it sits on the garment nice. It's not harsh. It's not harsh like some other paper is. I'm happy with the result that I'm able to get with EasySubli and this technique, because of course with the Workforce 7720, my ink just never seems to dry when I send it through through my printer. So hopefully this tutorial helped you out. If it didn't, let me know. I can see if I can help you achieve the same results that I did. Thanks.